Hey, my name is Ray and you're watching Raya Books. Today's video is going to be the 16th installment in my currently checked out series. If you are new to my channel and have never seen any of my currently checked out videos before, essentially the purpose of this series is to raise awareness about the different types of resources that public libraries provide. I live in San Francisco, so the San Francisco Public Library is the library system I utilize the most often. However, I also use other library systems throughout the state of California. At the end of each video, I'll be giving you guys a price tally on how much money I saved by utilizing the resources available to me through my local public libraries. This video is going to be a bit of a long one. I am combining 2 weeks in one, so this is everything that I've checked out between November 28th and December 13th. So let me just get into the books that I currently have checked out. The first book that I have checked out is The Christmas Chronicles by Nigel Slater. I checked this one out from the Marinette library system. This is another very solid recommendation from one of you guys. The name of who recommended it has completely slipped my mind right now. One of the things that I absolutely love about this series that I've created and just being on BookTube in general is all of the absolutely amazing book recommendations that you guys give and that I just get to see in general. Anywho, this book is half cookbook, half memoir, and full of warm, fuzzy holiday feels. Winter is my favorite season. I love the gloom, I love the dark early nights, I love the rain, I love the warm, cozy feels, and I love all the different holiday decorations. And as I was flipping through this book, I was like, yo, this book is all of those feels in like one thing, and I absolutely love it. Of course, the real question is, since this is half cookbook, will I actually attempt to make a recipe out of this book? I do not know. Will I turn my kitchen into a chaotic cluster of something? Who knows? But if you guys do think it would be interesting for me to do kind of like a vlog-ish type video of me trying to follow a recipe from this book, let me know and I will take it into consideration. The second book that I have currently checked out is Zarina by Alpsten, and I checked this one out from the Marinette library system as well. I honestly can't remember what initially drew me to this book or why I requested it, but in rereading the synopsis, it does definitely seem like something I would have requested. It is a historical fiction novel set in Russia, and I've honestly not read any historical fiction set in Russia. I've read a few fantasy novels set in Russia, but no historical fiction that I can think of, so I am pretty interested in reading this. It is about Catherine Alexenia. I can't say that last name. I'll leave it on the screen and hopefully you guys will know what I'm talking about, who was the second wife of Peter the Great. Now, this Catherine is not to be confused with Catherine the Great. They are entirely different Catherines, which is pretty much all I can remember from my very limited understanding of Russian history. But essentially the plot of this book has to do with her keeping Peter the Great's death a secret as she attempts to take power for herself. Now, I really do love historical fiction that deals with the coup, so I am looking forward to that. And I also love historical fiction in which a woman is the main focus. So I am definitely looking forward to reading this one, and I am glad that I requested it, even though I have no clue how I came across it. The third book that I have currently checked out is Recipe for a Perfect Wife by Karma Brown. I checked this one out from the San Francisco Public Library. I actually came across this book in the Marinette library catalog under the recently reviewed section. One of the cool things about BiblioCommons, or one of the many cool things about BiblioCommons, is that there is this recently reviewed section in the catalog, and you can see all of the books, DVDs, music, what have you, that people have literally recently reviewed or recently left like their own little comment on. And I saw this one and I was like, oh, that's an interesting cover. Let's see what it's about. Clicked on it, read the synopsis, and pretty much instantly had to request it. The wait for it at Marinnet was longer than the wait at SFPL, so I ended up requesting it from SFPL instead. However, I also did not read the review that was left by the person who actually got into that recently reviewed section, so shame on me there. Basically, Recipe for a Perfect Wife is about this woman named Alice who moves to the New York suburbs with her husband. In Alice's new home, she discovers the cookbook of the previous occupant, Nellie, and in this cookbook, Nellie not only records recipes, but she also records details about her life, her marriage, and there are a ton of unsent letters to her mother. As Alice's marriage kind of goes through its own trials and tribulations, Nellie's marriage is also going through trials and tribulations in the cookbook, and it just seems like a pretty interesting book. It promises a dual narrative, and I really do love a dual narrative when it's done right. And as I was flipping through it, I saw that there are some recipes in this one as well, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. I have high hopes for the dual narrative, and I'm wondering if maybe I should try a recipe from this one as well. I've been in a bit of a more cookie mood lately. I think it's the holiday season. That's why I want to cook things. It's definitely the holidays. Not the pregnancy, just the holidays. The fourth book that I currently have checked out is The Perfect Nine, the Epic of Kikuyu and Mumbi by Ngũgĩ Ongo. I have the phonetic spelling written down so I could actually try and get it right. And this one I have also checked out from the San Francisco Public Library System. I don't remember how I came across this one. All I know is that the hold list for it was incredibly long at both library systems that I'm currently using for physical books. So it must have been mentioned in some type of bestseller article. It must have been mentioned in some kind of podcast. It must have been mentioned somewhere, and I must have seen it mentioned in that somewhere, because I literally have no other clue how I would have came across this novel. This is Ngũgĩ's first epic, and it is the telling of the founding of the Kikuyu people in Kenya from a feminist perspective. Now, I'm gonna keep it real. I am not up on my Kenyan folklore and mythology, but I am super duper excited about diving into this one because it does have one of my favorite folkloric tropes. Essentially, the whole kind of background to the story is that there are these absolutely beautifully perfect daughters, and their fathers in the village are trying to find suitors for them. And of course, the suitors have to go through a whole bunch of trials and tribulations and tasks in order to win the hands of these daughters in marriage. I have no clue why it's my favorite folkloric trope, but it is, and I'm really excited about getting back into more African folklore and mythology. When I was a kid, I used to be super into it. I really don't know at what age I fell out of it, but I am looking forward to reading a adult-ish version of the same kind of folklore, and also one that's told from a feminist perspective. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I enjoy it and that it kind of reignites that interest for me. The fifth book that I have currently checked out is Leave the World Behind by Rumaan, and this one I have checked out from the Marinnet library system. I had been on the hold list for this one for so incredibly long that when it finally came in, I had completely forgotten that I had requested it. I had no memory of requesting it, and I honestly do not know what mood I was when I requested it. All I know is that it had taken maybe like 2-ish months for it to actually trickle its way through all of the holds to get to me. Essentially, Leave the World Behind is about this white couple, Amanda and Clay, who rent a luxurious vacation home to get away from New York with their kids. While they're on their luxurious vacation, the owners of the house, a black couple, Ruth and her husband GH, come bringing news that a massive blackout has taken over New York and the majority of the East Coast. There's absolutely no cell phone service, no TV, and no internet. So tensions are pretty high for both couples. I actually finished this one and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It is definitely I want to say it's like a slow burn thriller, but it's also incredibly good in how it examines race relations, because of course you have this white couple who are in this beautiful home that they're like, oh, this is the best home we've ever been in. And then when this black couple comes and says, hey, we're the property owners, they're like, I want proof. I want all the proof. You are criminals. I want proof. So it's really, really interestingly done in that whole aspect. I really liked it. And the best part about it is that it's going to be a movie on Netflix starring Denzel Washington and Julia Roberts. I can't wait to see who the rest of the cast is going to be, and I'm super duper excited for the movie version of this book to come out. The 6th book that I've currently checked out is The Cold Millions by Jess Walter, and I checked this one out from the Marinette library system. I once again have absolutely no clue of why or how I requested that book. I don't know where I came across it. All I know is that it actually sounds like something that I would not request. It's about these 2 brothers who are train hoppers and are trying to just make their living by doing all sorts of odd jobs in the early 1900s. It's just not my kind of book, so this is probably going to be one of those books that I'm going to return unread, just because I don't know why I requested it. I don't know when I requested it. It might have actually been like an accidental request just to check that the request system was actually working. So I don't know. If you guys think that this might be a book that I would be interested in, let me know in the comments. But as of now, it's just going to be returned unread. The 7th book that I have currently checked out is A Children's Bible by Lydia Millett, and I have this one also checked out from the Marinette library system. I have a very, very, very faint memory of reading about this one in some type of book award list, and I do remember requesting it because the cover looks so absolutely creepy. Essentially, the story follows 12 eerily mature children who are on vacation with their parents. One day, a destructive storm apparently destroys the vacation property, and scenes from one of the kids' children's Bibles start coming to life or coming to pass. It sounds super intense. It sounds really good, and it sounds like something that I would definitely be interested in, so I am looking forward to reading it. The 8th book that I currently have checked out is How to Catch a Queen by Alyssa Cole, and I have this one also checked out from the Marinette library system. I have been in love with Alyssa Cole's romance novels for an absolute hot minute. When I heard that she was dropping a new series in the theme of royals, I absolutely had to request it, and I'm actually really surprised at how quickly it came to me. I thought there'd be more of a buzz for it, but alas, somehow that tends to be the way with Black romance novels in public library systems. I am actually starting the process of purchasing Alyssa Cole's Reluctant Royals series, so once I've purchased all of that series, then I'll just start purchasing this series instead of checking it out from the library, because I've hit that point where I feel comfortable enough with her as an author that I know that I would want her books in my collection. So eventually these will be books that I will just be purchasing on my own. The synopsis for this one promises me a queen who is seen as an outsider and not listened to, even though she has some really good solutions to the problems of the kingdom. A king who never really expected to fall in love with his wife, and this queen also running away because she's just tired of the ish. So I am definitely looking forward to reading this one. I am so excited to read more Black romance. I feel like it's been a hot minute since I've dived into the Black romance genre. I don't know why. I guess I've just been trying to read so many other things, but it's time to get back to my Black romance. The 9th book that I have currently checked out is Girl, Girl, Girl on a Womanhood and Belonging in the Age of Black Girl Magic by Kenya Hunt, and this one I've also checked out from the Marinette library system. I saw this one on Goodreads, 5 great books hitting the shelves this week, and pretty much felt like I absolutely had to request it. I completely and totally lucked out though that when I was looking through the catalog, I saw that the library that I was working at actually had a copy on the shelf, so I just walked over to the shelf and grabbed it for myself. There were no holds on it. No one had requested it. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment for me. I have always wanted to know more about the Black experience in the UK, and when I saw that Kenya Hunt had lived in America and then moved to the United Kingdom, I was absolutely sold. I absolutely felt like I had to read it. Apparently this book is a collection of her essays on Blackness, womanhood, and motherhood, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to reading it. And the 10th and last book that I have currently checked out is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I checked this one out from the San Francisco Public Library System. I have never read a president's memoir before, and I do think it's incredibly fitting that hopefully the first presidential memoir that I read will be Barack Obama's, because he is the first president who I actually voted for. I was too young to vote for him for his first go around, but I did vote for him when he was going against Mitt Romney, so I am excited to read about the first president that I ever voted for, and to read about the first Black president in his own words. To be incredibly blunt, one of the reasons why I have never read a presidential memoir before is because I have absolutely zero interest in any of our previous presidents or first ladies' backstories. I could care less about where they came from. They just don't appeal to me, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna bother someone out there, but it's true. I feel like I learned enough about these people in elementary, middle, and high school that I'm not gonna carry that with me to adulthood. I'm really interested in seeing how Obama describes his journey to the White House and his time within, and I'm also really interested to see how he notes any changes that happened within his family as they were thrust into this worldwide spotlight. I'm pretty nervous about reading this because I feel like it's going to have me in a lot of emotions and a lot of feels, but I am also excited about reading this because I'm hoping that it's something I can really, really, really get into. And that's it. Those are the 10 books that I've checked out in the last 2 weeks. And the total amount of money saved is $224.64, which I couldn't have even spent that if I wanted to. I do want to start breaking down where I would have spent my money and which library systems saved me the most money. So here is hopefully a nicely visible pie chart letting you guys know where my coins would have gone if I'd actually spent that $224.64. Amazon would have gotten $128.15. Green Apple Books would have gotten $57.45. And Books Inc. would have gotten $39.04. In terms of the ever so lovely library systems, MarinNet and SFPL, MarinNet saved me $155.81, and the San Francisco Public Library saved me $68.83. And my question for you guys are, what do you currently have checked out? If you do not have anything currently checked out, what is it that you're currently reading? And my bonus question for the week is, do you have a favorite memoir or autobiography? I don't think I have like a set in stone favorite, but the autobiography slash memoir that has stuck with me the longest is In Order to Live by, I don't remember her first name, but her last name is Park. I will leave a picture of it right here, and it's just the one that stuck with me the absolute longest. So let me know what your favorites are in the comments down below. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it through this whole long rambly thing, please give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy watching or listening to this. It really does help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you ever want to see or hear me babble about books ever again, please hit that subscribe button. It really does mean the world to me. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day and reading wonderful books, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!